All right, I've worked out a technique that I think is pretty fun. I don't like these trees that I modeled. They ain't gonna work for me. They're too unrealistic. So I did go to tree and I limited this to 100 MB file size and a poly count of a maximum 700. So when I looked at tree that way in the Blender kit, then what I see when I do the search is not only these really ugly low poly trees that are just as bad as mine, but I see fake trees. And if I take these fake trees here and download them, they're really just planes, as you will see. And I'm letting it fill up here. And I got a whole bank of planes that are individual planes, and they're really low poly. Like there's only two triangles on that one, and there's only two triangles on that one. And then there's two triangles on that one. And they're all bound together to this empty that is used to move them around as a group. And I'm going to get rid of that because I'm going to take each of the trees and I'm going to hit Alt-P and clear parent keep transformation. So now that empty is no longer necessary and I can delete it. So I'm going to put these in the landscape instead. And you're going to say, well, but that only looks good when you walk right up on it. And that would be absolutely true. But what I'll do is I'll place a tree. Let's see, like we'll take this one here. I'll move it down into the landscape. And it doesn't matter what angle I set it as. You're going to think, well, you know, the character, if he's walking across, then he'll see this beautiful tree, but then he'll notice there isn't anything there. What I'm going to do, make it smaller, scale it, it's too big, right, is I'm going to select it and hit Control D, hit R for rotate along the Z axis, hitting Z, and I'm going to say 30 for 30 degrees, and hit Enter. And now you can see it's two planes, but I'm going to keep doing that 6 times to get the 30, 180, because there's two sides to it, so that'd be 360. So I'll hit Control D again, RZ, oops, 30, Enter, Control, what was I saying? Shift D, RZ 30, Enter, Shift D for duplicate, RZ 30, Enter. And how many have I got so far? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is another tree, and that's another tree. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I need to do one more. So I'll hit Shift D, R to rotate, Z for the Z axis, 30 degrees, and hit Enter. And you can keep making these as dense as you want, but now you can walk around it, and at a distance it looks a lot sight better than these trees that I made last time I was in here. And having these, I can take each of those, and I think that's it. Let me see, that's that one, that's that one. So it's this one up to this one, and then hit Control J to join them, and I'll call this fake bushy tree. I'll just say fake tree bushy. And then with my other trees, I've already done that same process for this one and this one. So they do fool you. But look at the difference in polygons. I mean, even this one here, maybe I should do one more on it. But this is 14 triangles, whereas this one's 686. So yeah, I can't afford that kind of real estate. So if I grab this tree here and I decide I'm going to put that in the place of, when I do need to clear the parent, so Alt-P, clear and keep transformation. So we should be able to get just, what's going on here? Why are you, who's your parent? you. How do we unjoin you? We go, you have to go into edit mode in this case, and we will select just this plane, and then say P separate by selection. Now it's its own part there. So that one there, and then there's that one there. So this tree here, if we bring it down to this, let's bring it actually over to where that other tree is that I put in, and scale it down, and then move it over to where my fakey tree is. Take this out, and I'll take this, and I'll do that same technique. We can do it more densely if we want to. Let's say we did it, so 6 times, we did it 12 times, and we did it at 15 degrees. So we can go Shift D, RZ 15, enter, 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 Shift D, RZ 15, enter. How many do I have of the bushy? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I want 12, so Shift D, RZ 15, that's 9. Shift D, RZ 15, that's 10. Shift D, RZ 15, that's 11. And Shift D, RZ 15, that's 12. And now we have a, is that a better one there? So did I even do it right? Oh, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, and then it gets, I only have 9? What? I must have been doing something wrong. Let's see. Fig tree bushy 1. It's not that one. That one was somewhere else. So it's this one here. So it's this guy here, and then I got up to 7, and then I wanted to go Shift D. It's not doing the Shift D anymore, is it? Shift D. What's going on here? Let me down. Let's see if it works. Shift D, RZ 15. No, it's for some reason it's not letting me shift anymore, which is highly unusual because we're missing some stuff. RZ. No. Let's do Shift D. We made one again. RZ. And then let's go negative 15. And then let's go Shift D. Made another one. RZ. Negative 15. And then Shift D. RZ. Negative 15. And then finally, not finally, 2 more. Shift D. RZ. Negative 15. Didn't do it. Shift D, RZ, negative 15, and Shift D, RZ, negative 15. All right, does that look any better? Yes, in a sense it does. I mean, it still begs some questions of how the planes go together because we're not making a complete tree by any stretch of the imagination. But then when we take all these and shift select them and then join them, Control J, it'll let us, there we go. Now we have a tree. Oh, but look at that, the trunks got messed up. All right, that didn't really happen so much with the other one. Although it did happen in one of these over here. Oh, that's just another tree, that's why. Let's bring you to where you are. And it seems like one of the issues is the origin has gotten off. So we want to set the origin to the geometry, and that makes it a whole lot easier to be able to move the tree. Notice that from the top, you can't even see it. Let me get rid of that. There it is. And this guy here, yeah, I'm embarrassed to say, I'm going to do, am I going to delete it? I go to edit mode and select one of these and move it out, and then all the others, redo this, and then all the others, Control L, Control L? There's Control L to select the loop of it, select linked, Control L, but it's not selecting all the linked. Maybe because I'm in edit mode, I should be then able to, I'm just going to delete it. Let's try this again. So we'll move this over here. It has a single trunk, but the problem is, look at the origin. That origin is not in the center, so we were rotating about a spurious point, and that's why it's no good. So again, object, set origin to geometry, and now it should be that when we go Control Shift D, rotate in, I'm going to stick with 30 now because it takes less. It's rotating in weird ways. So let's try get back out of that. So we need to make sure that the rotation, I'm going to put this at 0. Oh no. Maybe it's the way it came in, because if you're rotating this about and this is not in the center, and it certainly is not going to spin properly because it's not centered. So probably what we're going to have to do is not use the center of the cube, but take the cursor and find an orthogonal view as much as we can and say, I want you to go right there. And I want to set the origin to the 3D cursor. Now, if the 3D cursor is in the right place, now when we do Shift D and we rotate about the Z-axis by 30 degrees, we're a little bit better off. And then Shift D and rotate by 30. Oh no. That's right. Shift D, rotate in Z by 30 degrees. Now we're getting somewhere. Shift D, rotate by 30. Okay. Yep. Shift D, rotate Z 30. Yeah. Shift D. Nope. Oh, did I mess that one up? Still not too bad. Shift D, rotate in Z by 30 degrees. All right. So a little bit better. And then take all these tree bushes and join them with Control J and scale it down. It all is going to depend on what we actually see when we look at it. So we've got that big tree there too. We can get it. And looks like that one does have its origin down there at the bottom of the tree, so it's good. So I'll just keep it in its place and then I'll move it later. And then Shift D, R, I'm going to do this one to 15 that I was talking about. No, sorry, backspace. So rotate in Z by 15, and then duplicate again, rotate in Z by 15, and then duplicate again, rotate in Z by 15, and then do it again, rotate in Z by 15, and just keep doing this until your fingers are tired. Shift D, rotate Z 15. Shift D, rotate Z 15. Shift D, rotate Z 15. We're up to how many? And then it kind of stops, which is weird. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then there's only 10. So we got to do another one. I don't know why it stops when it stops. Shift D, rotate Z 15, and finally Shift D, rotate Z 15. Now we should have 12. We've actually got 11, so we're going to do one more. Shift D, rotate Z 15, and it didn't. It did work. Okay. So all those, Control Z to join them. Call this, I don't know, fake tree nice full eye, whatever names you want to. That one there's the bushy one. This one here now can be taken and shrunk down a little bit. Ooh, isn't that interesting? Somewhere there's a plane that's missing, that one there that needs to be part of this. So we need to Control J. Yeah. And then we'll do that again. Fake tree nice full. There's that guy there who can then be shrunken down and moved over to somewhere like there. We have a tree there, so let's move it over here and bring it down. And then let's see what it looks like when it's played. We just have one more that we didn't do, this one here, but I'll leave it for reference. Also because I do believe, Shift tilde, I do believe when we go through here, yeah, we do have a tree in the back there. And yeah, I'll leave that one there for now. And save this. And from this save, go back into here, and it should be that I'm able to update this. I don't know why I have to keep eliminating. I should be able to refresh. And if it was properly refreshed, then it should, because it's a Blender file, it should reflect as new trees that I put in, but they ain't showing up. So if it's not refresh, it could be re-import. I could say re-import all. I don't want to do that though. Let's just re-import this and see if it makes a difference. I'll put you on pause. It is re-importing. Alright, so I was a total idiot. What was happening is that I was saving my blend file into the original folder that I had created for it, which was not this one here. This one here I need to put into bookmark. But I was saving it into my folder for the SRTM maps. This is where I created it. And then I was saving it in here, and then I was pulling this into Unity. And now I realized all I need to do is stop working in this folder and always work in the Unity folder, in my scenes folder in Unity, because that is where it actually is. So once I did that, it of course automatically updated. So I was being super stupid about that. Now when I go to Unity, you can see there's all of my trees, but oh, they don't look good, do they? So once again, you still have to take your trees and go to your UV editing and select the tree, and then find the maps that you're going to use if you want to have normals or you want to have um, all the different stuff that's in there. So we've really got to look at this and make sure we have all those components in there. And for this tree here, if we go here, then fake tree has in it the 1, and it has the 1, 7. So I need to make sure I have those materials that came in, and that means finding out where they are. So view, where would we find them? We would find them, see, that's not obvious to me, like where Blender's storing those. But if I know they're the 1 and the 1, 7, and that this one here, this tree over here, has in it the 114 and the 17 in it, and if I see that this one here has the 115, then I've just got to get all these the ones. It's the 112, and this one is the 111. This one is the 111 and 10, and this one is the 111 and 10. So I need to go into my UV editing, and while there's normal pings and all that, somewhere down here are all the ones. And so the 1, no, 1, nothing, really? Okay, that is indeed bizarre. Why is it not letting me find the ones? Just letting me find normal maps for trees, when what I really want is, it's not pine texture, plant, pine for texture, it's all my stuff. So somewhere there is this thing, the 1, and they're in some folder. So I gotta find that. Hold on. All right, this is pretty tricky, and I've tried to figure something out here. So it looks like in order to get this texture, which is a real mess of a mess, and I'll show you what I mean. When I go into the shading editor and I hit tab, I think it's supposed to work that way anyway. Oh, there it is. Yeah, this is what that's made of. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here that is part of a procedural generated texture that becomes the material output. So as you can see, or maybe you can't see, it's like a whole thing, and that's just the trunk. And if I go to the slot, I'm not even really sure all of how this works when you're using. See that? Look at that. That one is just like an incredible thing of different colors and maps and mixes and translucence. And we got to get all that out into our Unity file as a single object. So we need to bake it. And I guess what you do is it says you select it and you first go to UV editing and you make a new tree color thing. So I'm going to make a new image and I'm going to call it this tree color, and it's called fake tree bushy. That's the one I'm working with. It has alpha and it's a blank, and you create a new image. All right, so I've got that new image. Then I go into shading, and here in this area where I've selected that, I add that texture as an image texture, and I select in here the, there's nothing to select there. I grab it from here, and what did we call it? We called it, I don't remember. I have to go and look. It's so stupid sometimes. Tree color fake tree bushy. In fact, I'm going to grab that copy it so that I don't forget it and go back to shading. So let me, and here I'm going to go and look for tree color fake tree bushy. That's it right there. So that's that, and it's selected. You want to make sure it's selected. Right, with that, you go up to the render, and you have to make sure you're not in Eevee, but in cycles, and then you go down to bake, and you bake the diffuse, and you say, yeah, I want to bake it. And then down here at the bottom, it does texture bake, and it seems to take a long time. It's going through all those procedures and baking it onto that image. So we wait, and we wait, and we wait, and wait, and wait, and wait, and wait, and at some point it should speed up. And I can't believe it. It's not that complex. It's at 1% now. Yeah, I'm going to put you on pause while I wait for this thing. All right, so it baked, and you can see it there on the left side. When you have that image, you can come over here and do save as. You don't have to go. Usually, I would go back into UV editing, and I would save the image as. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to stay in shading this time, because there it is. And I'm going to give it a name. That's like the normal. That's sort of weird. I thought it's like the normal that came in, not the image itself, because, well, that's not right. It should have baked into the tree color fake. Like, that's the one there, because if we were to open up another, it doesn't do anything. Tree color bake. Well, I assume it baked. I have to assume it baked. Let me go over to UV editing, and here, if we select that, that's the one there. I don't really understand it. So it says something needs to be saved, and we're going to save it as a PNG with RGBA, so it has an alpha channel, and we will save that image. And then we're going to go in here, and there it is. Tree color fake tree bushy, but it has no interesting information in it. But we're going to do alpha is transparency and apply it, and there's nothing in it. Okay, well, that didn't work out so well. Let's go back and see what happened here. We have this image there, and we are selecting all those faces, and we created a new blank thing called tree bushy. We went to shading, and we told it that we wanted to do it in the tree color fake tree bushy. We were in the area that has the image, and so we were supposed to, by selecting this, go to bake, and let's do combined, target image textures, and now let's try it again, because the diffuse did nothing. So we'll get back to you when this finishes. So it's telling us that it saved it, but I don't see it in here. It's fake tree bushy. And again, I want to paste in, it's the one there. It's empty. Well, that's disturbing. Because I don't know. What makes this thing come up? It's got trunk normal, it's got this one here, it's got this albedo, it's got a base color. It's a whole different vibe than the other one, I guess. And That's the one that I made last time. But I'm going to try something else. I'm going to try a different one. I'll try this one here. And this one, when I hit tab, has a lot of stuff in it. And if I do, that's called fake tree nice full. If I come to here and I say that I want to make, this is just a save. Okay, so if I say that this one here is going to be called fake tree nice full, so tree color, we're going to make a new one and call it tree color fake tree nice full. Use the alpha, generate the blank, and we make a blank image. Maybe it should have been unwrapped first. This is what I do not know. If I do unwrap, it does that. It's not really helping. So we have this thing called tree color fake. And then you go into shading and we add a image texture, and we tell that image texture that we want to do zoom in on it. Tree color thickness tree full, that's the one we want. And color space we leave as is, linear and repeat. And then what are we using in here? The bake type is combined. The view is from above surface. Shouldn't even matter. Target is image texture. And we can try a diffuse again. And select to active. I didn't use that before. I wonder what that does. So I'm going to bake it now. Come back. Okay, that time it did kind of work. It's not great, but there it is. And I should be able to stay in here as I wanted to do earlier and go to image and then save as and pop that in. And now when I go here, I have this tree color nice full, which is supposed to go on to this one here, I believe. That one there. So let me see which one this is. This is holding shift key down. This guy is F there, fake tree 1. So it's not the one. Where is it? Is it you? You are to do out. This one here, hit the period, so the F key. Oops, didn't work there. Bring this over, hit the F key. Fake tree nice full. All right. So fake tree nice full is the one that we want to use. And there's fake tree nice, tree color fake tree nice full. And we drop it on and it is not transparent. So when we click on it and we look at the shader, we have to make sure that the surface type is transparent. And then it's supposed to work. But all the thing is it should be alpha is the transparency. And so we're going to apply that. That should have made it look better. And then the question is, do we really need to certainly is transparent. So I've got to see what is it that's making this such a mess. I have here fake tree, and the surface type now is opaque. What happens there when we come in? So the surface being opaque, the render face can be both, and we want it to be transparent. But obviously it's got weirdness on one of the sides that I can't account for. So speculating what we want. Alpha render face, alpha clipping. Yeah. So not great for that one. So this is a lot more complex than I thought it would be, and probably not altogether worth trying to do. Like with this one here, that's fake tree bushy 1. In here, there's a, here is, who are you? Let's see, you are fake tree bushy 01. And we could try the same. We'll do this one last procedure to see if we can even make it work. We've selected it, and we're on it, fake tree bushy 1, and we will create a new tree color fake tree bushy 1, 001, and we've now created that. We go to shader. We are in this one. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of tabs in there. Maybe I don't want to open all that up. Maybe I just want to add the input texture, image texture here, and find tree color fake tree bushy 1, and taking that, and also here, this one here, if I bake diffuse, then we have to wait for it. Okay, note to self, that didn't do anything when I had this node here, so maybe you do have to open up. You have to open up something here in the slot. Now it's not letting me. Slot 1, slot 14. There we go. So maybe we have to be in the slot that has all that information to bake, and then add this texture, image texture. Maybe that is the only way to make it work. And then pick the tree color bushy 1, which is that one there. And only within the context of this, I think that's the way you have to bake it. And I think I was wrong to do it the way I did it. So let me try this again and hit bake. The target is the image textures, but it's within the active area. So I think that might work. Just have to wait and see. Okay, well, it did work, but it looks really dark and black. That's the only thing that we got. But I don't know. I guess I just gonna. This is the normal ping, and then there's other things in here. So I don't really get like why, if I look at the tree color bushy 1, there's that. So it makes something, evidently, and it's black. But we have to deal with that. That's what we got so far. Because if I go to UV editing and I look at it, I see it there behind here. So you know, and I move these. There it is, with the alpha channel. But again, it's black. Maybe because I used diffuse. But whether I save it here or I save it from shading, the image has a little star on it that says not yet saved, and so I'll say save as, and I'm saving as RGBA, so it has alpha. You have to save it as a ping, and I will save the image as that one there. Come into here, it'll show up, and there it is, tree color, bushy 1. I need to then come into it and put alpha as transparency, and then apply that, and then the alpha transparency occurs there. And then with this, I think it's this one here, this one is called, I have to find it, fake tree bushy 1, yeah. So that one is the right tree that I'm trying to put the texture on. And so I'll take that tree color, fake tree bushy, and I'll take this one here, which was the bushy one, and I'm just going to drag this on top of that. And again, it doesn't show up here. So when we go to here, we say it should have a transparent surface face. But it's only doing it on one of the faces. That's what's disturbing. The render face should be both, but it's all grayed. So apparently this technique, while it seems to have worked for this tree back here, I'm not at all sure why it's not working for the others. Here it is, the render pipeline, and this is all stuff that's above my pay grade. So I think we're going to have to abandon this whole technique that we were so excited by until we learn more about the proper way to get these textures out of Blender. It just is not working out the way that we thought it might. Because even if I can put this pine tree onto here, and that works out. So I did something correct with the pine tree that I'm not doing with some other trees. Somehow that works. Barely, marginally. Not really though. No, it's different faces. So it's, yeah, there's something funky going on that I'm not familiar with, and that's something that is going to drive me crazy till I figure it out. So it's back to the drawing board. Fortunately, Unity has its own trees, so maybe we don't use Blender for the trees, and maybe we go to the Unity store over here in the asset store and search online, and you have to log in. And now that we've logged in, we find trees, and then they're all expensive, price free, and then there's some really low poly bad ones. And there's the mobile tree package, which I've used before. So in my own Unity file, if I go to the package manager, I should have under my assets, I should have something about trees. I have a tree package. So there's one. There's on tree creation, and I've got this one here, and then I've got realistic tree pack. And I would download it, and then I would import it into the project, and they have to do the same thing in Roblox. Just use Roblox trees in Roblox and use Unity trees in Unity. And it's such a shame too, because it looks so interesting here, but clearly isn't going to work for our purposes until I know a lot more. Alright, so I think it must now be in there. We go back to the scene and we go in here to assets. There should be example assets, materials. What did this come in as? I thought we already imported this. Thought we did. Did we not? So where are they? All materials, all models, all prefabs. And I didn't want to look at all that. Search in all. I don't want to search in all prefab. Shaders, scenes, spatials, there, packages, mathematics, text mesh pro, fonts, thumbnails, tutorial info. Where on the heck are presets? Where are my trees, prefabs, models, examples, materials, presets, RTP, there it is. So RTP has these trees. They have lost their textures, and when that happens, sometimes you have to click on these and then go up to edit, rendering, materials, and convert, but it's not going to let us convert. So yikes. Update, re-import. That's a pain when that happens in the inspector, and then you have to tell it to materials. You say import via material description, apply, and nothing happens. Materials. So sometimes these are standard legacy ones, and they don't. Unity looks for an existing material. You know, let me go creating the local materials. Yeah, it's it can drive you nuts trying to get the pink, the deadly pink, to go away. Sometimes you can do it by pulling in here, choose all the pink, and go to rendering materials, convert them to URP. And when you do that, yes, it comes in. All right, so that's how you get that working. so that when you bring your tree in, the prefabs, they're not supposed to be pink, they're supposed to be unpinked. And they are unpinked when you actually bring them in. So there's a tree that will go well into our model, and then this can be deleted. Can it be deleted? Probably have to take it out of the Blender model because it's part of a prefab, and that drives me nuts. It's part of the Blender prefab, so it's really hard to unpack these prefabs, because when you hit delete, it says you can unpack the prefab instance to remove its connection, and that would mean coming up to this prefab here and unpacking it, and then and only then can you delete. So boom, boom, boom. And I guess we would populate this with just these trees instead and put them in, and then when we want to play, we now can do Control D and move that tree over. Do the same thing that we were doing in Blender, but do it using Unity assets for things of that nature. And then when we test our scene, okay, now let's see what we get. And so now those Unity trees are in the landscape. Can't get up on top of there. And the Unity trees look really good, but there is the tree that I brought in. There's one of my trees that was a plane, as you can see. And it fools you. So the concept was good. I mean, it fools you when it's walked up to and it's really low poly, whereas these trees are much higher poly, but they look okay. So we'll probably end up using Unity trees for Unity and using Blender trees for Blender. Sometimes you can go into Unity and pick an asset like this tree here. If I can get the whole thing. I don't know if I can get the whole thing. This is interesting now that we're, what are we doing in, that's the cube. Okay, so if I grab a tree, you should be able to export it. You certainly can easily in Roblox. So how do you export something? You probably would have to do it from the assets folder and find where the tree is. It's in models, prefabs, there they are, trees 1 and 2, and export package, the whole thing. So if we want that tree out, we would export it, but that's as a Unity package, so that's not what we want. That's a package. How does one export? I'm going to ask for a moment. So in order to export this tree, you have to go to the package manager and you have to look for in the Unity registry, you're probably going to be in your project or you're going to be in your assets, but you have to come up here and look for the Unity registry and then type in FBX and the FBX exporter comes up. And when you have the FBX exporter, you're going to have to install it because it's not a built-in feature. And they say it makes it easy to send geometry and animation in the application that exports XBF format, which means we could also bring it into Roblox for that matter. And I want to see what it works back and forth and how it deals with textures. So it's installing, so we're going to have to wait for a moment. There it goes. And as it comes in, this is a lot like QGIS and Blender. There's so many add-ons and packages you need if you want full functionality, and it'll drive you nuts until you've learned what packages are available and whether they're compatible and how they work, so that you can get assets in and out. So this is now compiling the C# scripts. So all takes time and drive you nuts. That's why I'm not taking my wife's computer, because I'd have to go through this whole procedure on that computer, and I eventually will, but leaving on Friday doesn't leave us a lot of time. Okay, so it took a while, but the FBX exporter is now in place. Now, how do you use the FBX exporter? If we click on this, is there now an export? Yes, convert to FBX prefab variant. I think that's what was missing before. I do want to make sure about that. So let me see what ChatGPT says. Install, select the prefab, convert to prefab variant, depending on your needs. I want to export to FBX, but I think it's only going to allow me to, I think you can do it from this. There's no right clicking on this. There's no, maybe there is from here. If we go to export, yeah, export to FBX actually is here. So tree 1A prefab export path is to assets. I'll put this into actually shape files for Blender over here, and I will export it as a, this is ASCII, source destination. Let's see. And let's do the other one since we're here. And which one is that? So that was that one. This one's this one. Not that one, nope. That one there. And let's go export to FBX. Same thing. Export. Now when we go into Blender, we go back to layout. I get rid of all these trees that didn't work. They were a mess. Oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. Okay. Rid of that after all that trouble. We're going to get rid of all those. And we should now be able to import the FBXs, which are found in here. And there they are. There's the two trees that we can import. Where did they end up? Your guess is as good as mine. Probably down at the bottom of the world. So we need to search for the fake trees. We don't like those. What did we export these things as? They were supposed to be imported as tree2 pre-FBX. So tree2, and it didn't come in. Alright, maybe I have to do one at a time. It's perfectly reasonable. Import FBX to the first one, and nothing. Nothing. Oh, it didn't come in. Not sure why. Let's go to a different scene. Not that scene. Let's go to the modeling scene where we built that and try it there. Import X. Let's try 2. Nope. Doesn't seem like it has come in here at all. Well, that's disappointing, because I thought we'd be able to, I'm gonna do new and see something here. Save. Wow. Problems. Alright, so if we import them here, it said there was something wrong. I'm not sure then what that is that's wrong. I mean, this. Right, well, this is really bizarre. Everything just disappeared in Unity except the trees. I can't understand that one at all. There's nothing in the inspector. So if I delete, I can't even delete something. Like, there's nothing in here. It's the most bizarre thing I've seen. Doesn't make any sense. So, accurate cemetery nursery scenes. It's all gone. I can't account for that. If I go to this part here and I try to delete it, take it out, I can still go back to my Blender file, except my Blender file isn't there anymore. Whoa, that's really, really weird. So if I import a new asset and I go to my scenes and I bring in the Blender file, I'm going to have to fix things a bit. And then, where did it go? There it is. That one there is the, oh, that's a different Blender file. It's not what we want in here. Not at all. We want to bring into here, import a new asset. We want this. We want to import that. And figure out how come everything disappeared. And once again, it's not bringing anything in. That is so weird. Something broke. And this is the save it. And then we come into Unity. It knows it was saved, so it's importing it. It's calling it Blend 1, which is bizarre. But there's Blend 1. So I guess I can drop it in. And once again, I've got to bring the digital elevation satellite map in there. And trees are still in there. It has to be then, a component has to be added, which is a mesh collider, and we have to do that for everything. So we're back to that again. Adding mesh colliders for every blessed thing that we want to crawl over. we had it, but we have one there. Let's put a mesh collider in here. And on this one here, we can put in a box collider. And if we wanted to walk on the wall there, we can try to put in a box collider, and if it doesn't work, then we will. Oh, that's the box. Ooh, that's not a good box. He's never going to get inside of the box collider, so forget the box collider. It's got to be removed. And instead, we'll need a mesh collider. Okay. So let's save that again. Not sure what happened all in there, but now we were going to see if we could export these to Blender. And the issue that I have to find for that tree is that it has to be exported, and it's no longer, where it is, export to FBS. So you can't use ASCII by default for Blender. So I think that was the problem. Model and animation, we don't have any animation. We'll just do models. All levels, we'll do the lowest LOD, and local pivot is fine. And then let's try this again. Export path, we want to be here. And export. We're going to overwrite that one, and we're going to pick the other tree as well, and export it. Binary. That was probably the issue, so that when we come in now to Blender and we import the FBX, hopefully we will see something work out. They're much smaller. Did they come in? Yes, they did. Alright, so they do come in. They come in dog ugly. They do come in, and it's just that they're like jelly. Just really bizarre. What did it? Oh, it lost their. So where they came in, we'll have to separate them out. Tree which? There it is. Tree one pre. And we can move the whole thing to a location. Tree two pre. Over here. But not really satisfying. They're so transparent. I guess it's because of the level of detail, and also look at how I'm missing. Every time you do that, you have to be really careful because the tree bark, tree 2 pre has bark and leaves, tree 1 pre has bark and leaves. You have to move them together. And then, because I did the lowest level of detail, they're looking really funky. The question is going to be what happens when you export. But they are there at that level of detail. So not as satisfactory as I'd like, a little bit more that I have to learn. Maybe I should try it again at a higher level of detail. Maybe I should go here and overwrite and say you are going to be exported to FBX at the LOD at all levels, and then overwrite. And the same thing with you. Export to FBX at all levels, and overwrite. Go to Blender and delete this and delete this, and now import these trees. Nope, didn't make a darn bit of difference. It's just what it is for that tree. But it makes you wonder, like if I put this tree over here, even though I have these trees already in Unity. Oh, I left that behind. Duh. So if I bring that over, what happens when we save this file with these trees in it, which looks so bad in Blender, and then we go back to Unity and it updates the scene, does it put many more trees in? Yeah, and they actually look okay, kind of, in Unity. Although it's kind of missing, the leaves are off of it. This gray thing really bothers me, but those are those trees that have gone out and come back in. And then when we go to test the scene, let me save this, then let's see what it looks like in that platform, because here we just have these two. In which case we can explore still building everything out in Blender and then bringing things in. But look at the number of triangles. I mean, 1,874, 1,868. And it gets to be to a point where it's just going to drag down. But we're still, half of our mesh vertices are okay, our texture memory is okay, and our unique materials. So I say avoid using high poly meshes for colliders. So maybe it's going to work. Here he is. So he comes in here and yeah, the trees don't look bad here. This is the one we brought in from Blender. This is the one that we also brought in, this gray one, so that doesn't look so good. And then the other ones are the ones that came in just from Unity itself. So yeah, no, it's not good, is it? Pretty sucky, actually. So we'll have to, that's really good. What came in from Unity. So I think vegetation, including these plants, we're going to have to rebuild each time in Roblox Studio and in Unity. And then it's the base stuff, the geometries that we will do in Blender. And then we will be in better shape. And did our collision work for our wall? Yeah, it did this time. So, right, now he's trapped. Right, that's it for now. Lots of frustrating learning tonight.